Tela
Deus,
cheia,
galera, o
prévia,
Soma Game
janela.
Pass, galera, o Soma Game Pass mal terminou. Temos dois eventos mais para trazer para vocês aqui no canal. State of Decay, que é o primeiro que vamos gravar agora. E logo seguir em sequência o Fable. Então, vamos aqui começar com State of Decay. Eu vou fazer em vídeos separados. Ok, começamos então com o primeiro.
Pause button. Intro.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Official Xbox Podcast, the only podcast coming to you from inside Xbox. But as you can see, we're not in the traditional studio today. No, instead, we are down in the historic Pioneer Square in downtown Seattle at Undead Labs, where we're about to sit down with a couple of fine folks who are building a game I'm very, very excited to get my hands on, State of Decay 3. Now, Game Showcase showed us some of what we can expect, but there's so much more. So today, they're going to talk us through what we saw, talk about some details you may have missed, and answer way too many of my questions. Let's get to it.
Agora são 40 minutinhos.
Okay, we're here with Philip Holt, the studio head of Undead Labs, and Wayne Laybourne, the art director of State of Decay 3. Philip, Wayne, welcome. Thank you guys for bringing us in today. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for coming all the way out to Seattle. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, so far for me, so far. Yeah, how about you, Wayne? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Appreciate the time. I know, like, super busy coming off the heels of Showcase, and just what you guys got cooking is so excited, so we wanted to swing by and talk about it. I'm a massive fan of State of Decay. I played them all. I think State of Decay 2 came out the year I joined Xbox, or pretty close to it, so it was like one of the first launches I remember where everyone in the office was just excited and, you know, really looking forward to it. And so here we are, State of Decay 3. What sets you guys apart from other zombie games, and how would you explain State of Decay to someone that hasn't played before?
Yeah, so State of Decay is a zombie survival sandbox fantasy.
Okay,
And so
yeah.
all of those words are sort of important to contemplate. It's an open world game. It's very much a survival management simulation. So you're responsible for a community of survivors, and you got to keep them alive. And the zombies are trying to kill you.
Yeah.
So there's base building, there's community management, there's resource, like you got to find food and water and ammo and medicine and all those kinds of things to keep your community going. And you sort of play against this very dynamic plague threat that's coming after you. And I think the thing that really sort of separates the game tonally, perhaps from other zombie games, is that there's a big part of our game that, because it's so centered around keeping a community alive, there's this idea of hope that tomorrow could come and it could be a better day, and that we have mutual responsibility to each other to keep us alive.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I love that you said hope, because that's like when I am trying to convey this game to someone else, that's kind of where my head goes. It's like hope and community, because it does. So many post-apocalyptic games or zombie games are pretty dreary, like through and through. And I do feel like even in the past titles, like there is this element of like, you know, what are we trying to save? Like, look at this beautiful world. Like, look how we're working together. You do develop some compassion for the NPCs in your community in ways that I was even shocked I felt myself. And so I do want to touch on that a little bit. And Wayne, I imagine, you know, part of like the hope in the community and like the vibe of the game, you know, that rests on your shoulders, correct?
Yeah, it's as fun to make as it is to play, I think, because of the breadth.
Yeah.
It's not just like there's space for stillness, there's space for nostalgia, there's space for hope and love, and then there's also space for violence and horror and all those things. And I think as artists and developers on the team, there's a room for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Like for all those different tastes in the same way as for players as well. So you can kind of pick your own adventure making it just like you can when you're playing it.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about community, because obviously a huge crux of the game. You know, why is that word so important to you, and like what, you know, talk about how that community, what community means to State of Decay 3.
You know, so it goes back to just survival. And I got really interested a couple years ago in Medal of Honor recipients and listening to their interviews and how they talked about their acts of heroism. And I was really struck by, after listening to a dozen or so interviews, they all kind of told the same story. And ultimately it came down to, I did my thing because the person standing next to me would have done it for me. And so there's this, like, when the bullets are flying and when your life is really on the line, you are gonna fall back to the people immediately around you. And that's the people that live in your house and the people on your street. And we see this in weather-related disasters all the time. Like it snows and all of a sudden everybody's sort of like friendly and in a good mood, right?
Yeah.
Like we are biologically evolved for group defense. And what separated early humans from other primates is that we shared food and we participated in group defense. So the game then places you in this role as a caretaker of this group of survivors. And that caretaking relationship that you have with your survivors is what actually creates that emotional connection that you experienced. And so when somebody dies and they die for real and they're gone, they don't come back, there is no save, restore.
You feel it.
You feel it, it's a loss.
Yeah.
And it's because we create in you a sense of duty and responsibility to these humans that rely on you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting because even in State of Decay 2, I do feel the emotional connection to my characters and my community more than I have in other titles.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how that evolves in the next game. Well, let's dive into the trailer a little bit. Obviously, we're just coming off the heels of Showcase. The trailer just dropped, and I think I'm not as creative as you guys are, but I do think it's like a Herculean effort to put together a trailer that's gonna like captivate audiences, but also like show what the game is while still being, artsy and interesting and cool. But like you got to show mechanics of like the game and like what you're actually doing. So I'd love to talk a little bit about like the development of that trailer and kind of how you made the decisions y'all did.
Yeah, I mean, Showcase, I think, is a unique moment in a campaign, and it has a set of requirements around a trailer asset that are just different from other types of things.
Yeah.
So you're in a show, and it's an hour or so long, and you don't really know what comes before or after you, and there's this sort of spectacle of this industry event, and then the trailer lives on its own on the web forever, and to be viewed by itself in isolation by your fans. So you at once reach this mass audience that really maybe doesn't know much about your game, and you're also speaking to your core, which is going to analyze every single frame of the trailer. Right. So you have to think about, okay, how do we put these elements together to create something that's going to stand out within the context of the show? So we got together over the fall, a few of us in the studio, and just started pitching ideas, and we landed on the boombox as an opening kind of early, and
Really early.
Yeah.
I was surprised at like 15 minutes in or something.
yeah, it's
Really?
our first
Really?
meeting. Yeah. So when I was coming up, there was a concert film called Stop Making Sense by the Talking Heads, and it's considered one of the greatest concert films of all time. And there's this great moment at the beginning of the film where David Byrne comes out on stage. It's a completely empty stage with a guitar and a tape deck, a boombox, and he puts it on the ground and he pushes play and he says, "I got a song for you." And it's the drum line from the song, and then he plays solo.
Cool.
And so it's like an iconic opening to a concert film. And so I sort of pitched this to the room of like, what if we have this cool device, this explosive device that's a grenade strapped to a boombox. Like, what if we opened on that and a slow pullout to reveal the scene? And everybody kind of loved the idea, and we kind of rolled with it.
Yeah, it just kind of worked too, because one of the hard things about a game like this is it's not about any one individual.
Right.
So who do you pick? What do you start with? And a lot of our assets, like the boombox, they are designed in a way that if you see them by themselves, they say a lot about the game. So it's got all the right ingredients. It's got something familiar, the boombox. It's got a grenade strapped to the side of it. It's got something written on the label, so it's personalized. So as you're seeing this thing, it's it's an object, but it gives you like an insight into the community and
the world, like the tone, the world, like all of those things.
Like just in that one thing. So it was like a perfect start, really. And we have a lot of other things designed like that are awesome, but the boombox in particular plays music.
So good.
It's a kind of a fuse as well, so it gives us a
lit bomb, right? For the audience to like, when is this going to blow up? And the other thing that happens in Showcase is people play the guessing game of what trailer is next, right?
And it's totally like you don't know right away, right? Like that's a perfect intro for exactly that.
Because it pulls you in. It's like, what is this you're trying to guess? And there's glimpses, there's some shadows of zombies, and so the fans, pick it up. And
You'll catch it. Some will catch it quick for sure, but I think a lot won't, and that's like a fun. Yeah, it's definitely a fun guessing game. And the boombox blew me away. Like that immediately, like iconic intro. Loved it. It definitely feels like a great shot. It feels like the intro to a movie and less of a trailer, which I love. Bela Lugosi's Dead is the song that's playing, right? How did you guys come to choose that song? Like it fits the tone of the environment so well and the world so well. And it's like that perfect like new wave. I don't want to say it's new wave. It's almost like the birth of goth, I think is what I read online. Is like a lot of people consider it that. Was that the reason you picked it or?
You know, I actually asked Alan last night. Alan's someone who, an artist on the team.
Oh, nice.
Been on that for a while.
It
And
was his idea.
Oh, shout out. That's awesome.
and I asked him actually last night because I thought this might come up. And I was like, why'd you choose that track? And he gave a great answer. He said, because I was listening to it. And it seemed cool. Which I love that because Alan and I were passing it back and forward, this sort of boombox and playing with it in locations and panning out and speed and stuff. And we wanted to get it back in front of Philip. And I went over and he's like, oh, I put a bit of a song on it. I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. We didn't know that Philip's like a huge Bauhaus fan too. So that didn't hurt, but it just really fit. Like it's kind of bit grimy, a little bit gritty, like unrefined. I mean, it's just kind of a perfect choice, really. And I love that answer because I think that's the way we roll a lot at Undead. Is like people come to work, they immerse themselves in what we're building and apply themselves.
For sure.
They sort of live in it. So Alan just picked this because he happened to be listening to it at the time and thought it fit and tried it. And then we got that in front of Philip, and then. I mean, Philip's got posters and all sorts.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
So Seattle.
Yeah, like I grew up in. I mean, this was the song of my early teen years, and my friends were huge Bauhaus fans. What's cool about the song? 1979, it was recorded, and the band had only been together for 3 weeks. So this is the first recording session they had done. They did an EP, and this was the single they released. It's a 9.5-minute song.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of instrumental in and out, which is kind of perfect for a trailer, just the environment.
Yeah, and the drum is exactly the same pattern throughout the entire song.
Yep.
So you can kind of cut pretty easily from one spot to another.
Yeah.
Be seamless. So it worked mechanically for the trailer. The thing I love about the lyrics, though, so I always thought that the lyric was, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. And no, it turns out we looked up the lyrics. It's undead, undone. So that was kind of a happy accident.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, is just the meaning of Bela Lugosi in the lyrics. So if you don't know, Bela Lugosi is famous for playing Dracula. So famous, in fact, that when you imagine Dracula, you picture Bela Lugosi.
Him, yeah.
And so when he died, he became immortal. He became undead because he will live forever as in the sort of cultural imagination of what Dracula is. And that goes into a lot of what we think of when we think of Undead Labs as a studio is, sort of tapping into those things that become everlasting.
I love that. And I do love that you have, like, you can feel the employee's personality kind of seeping into the game, like already, like someone just picking a song that they love, that they feel it works. And like in that they've become, to your point, like immortal. Like it is just like, you just feel your passion, your team's passion in the game. And I think that's awesome. And that is a way that we can live forever, is like through the art that we make. So
I think that's part of the secret sauce as well for Undead Labs, for the games they've made. Like there's always a bit of something in there. And I think it's just simply that, like people put themselves into the game a little bit. I don't think we didn't look at other songs really.
Yeah.
Just kind of hit.
We pushed it. We pushed it we worked with a vendor to help produce the trailer, and they're like, "No, it's a terrible song. Like, there's no way you should use it. It's 9.5 minutes.
How dare you?
It's from the '70s. Nobody knows it." So, but then they early cut of the trailer played the song over it, and they also like, "Oh, it completely works." And then we had to approach whoever owns the master at this point on the label, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And to say, can we license the song, and they were into it. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe we'll get that
can't
bump.
believe we got it.
Yeah, I love it. Maybe we'll get a bump on the charts after the trailer drops.
I was like, give me merch. I want some signed stuff from the band.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I could actually just sit here and we could turn this into a music podcast, which does happen a lot when we're recording Xbox podcasts. We talk about the music. We always go deep. So thank you for sharing. That's really cool. Working through like other aspects of the trailer, because obviously the music, the intro, incredible. What are like the gameplay mechanics that you wanted to be sure to show? Because again, like you said it, like the trailer has to be a minute. Like you don't have a ton of time. Did you have to make decisions there of like, what are we going to show? It's like a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, well, so I mean, our game is so big and there's so many different elements that it's hard to compress it all into a 3-minute trailer.
Yeah.
And we knew coming out of this Showcase 24, the last time we showed a trailer, that our community was just clamoring for gameplay. They wanted to see, combat and locomotion and the basics of running around the world. So we knew that we needed a gameplay reveal part of the trailer. And I think the couple of big ideas were untethered multiplayer co-op, shared world. And so we show 4 characters, One of them is doing something that would happen in any session of State of Decay, which is they're out exploring on their own and they run into trouble
Yeah.
and they phone home for help. And their friends, pile into a car and go
get 'em.
bail them out.
I love
And so that sort of encounter we talked about early, and then that was basically set the script for the trailer.
Totally. Well, and I think that's a good one because like untethered multiplayer, obviously probably one of the most requested things coming out of the last title.
Well, it's really cool. So we've had a player council that's been working with us for about a year.
Yeah.
So these are big fans of our game. Some of them are content creators. Some of them are mods in our community. And many of them are like pretty dedicated single player players. And
Yeah.
they are like, no, I want to play with my friends now. And because this
That's great.
untethered shared world is the ultimate fulfillment of the fantasy of we are building a base together and we're trying to save these survivors and, keep the night at bay.
Right. And there's so many like conscious time decisions you have to make in State of Decay where it's like, I need meds, I need food, but I don't only have time to get one right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about the element of like, you get this, I'll get that, but you're doubling your risk of like.
We're both out at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Double the chance to flip a car, end up stranded, someone gets mauled. Like it's just, it's high risk, high reward, but you're doing it together.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, it's the way that we play here. It's the way that our alpha community is playing with the game now.
Yeah, totally.
So we're finally delivering that experience.
Yeah, way more fun to do that stuff with your friends. Like it just truly is.
I mean, we were talking about it this morning, weren't we? With some of the alpha players have got like 90 hours in already.
Oh my gosh, for real?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
awesome.
Like in a
really
week.
positive.
90 hours in a week. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, the playtime.
That's awesome.
We haven't really talked about any of the numbers. We had like a really overwhelming response from the alpha sign up. And, there aren't that many people in. So it's the first of several tests. So I would really encourage people that are interested in State of Decay to sign up for playtesting. They can hit our website, stateofdecay.com, and they can sign up there. And we will be hosting a second alpha soon, and then some beta tests after that on the run to launch in 2027. And so if people want to get in and give us feedback and be a part of shaping what this experience becomes on launch day, they should sign up for playtesting.
heck yeah. It's funny. I'm not the biggest like survival game player alone, but as soon as you have some buddies, like that is one of the best genres to just like go out and play in. Like, I don't know what that is. I think to your point, it's like, we're just community builders.
We're hardwired that way. Yeah. Although I will say, as much as we wanted to focus on that, we also started the trailer with just a single player.
Yeah.
And because we want to signal to the audience that this is still a great game to play as a single player experience.
Totally.
And probably a majority of our players will play the game single player. And so it's great to play that way.
Yeah.
But it's also really fun to play with your friends.
You got options.
Yeah, it's great to hear from the alpha players, that ones who want to play single player are saying that they're enjoying the multiplayer.
Yeah, that is cool.
I think because they can get away and do their own thing for a little while and circle back as well. So it's really kind of exciting feedback to be getting this early, I think.
100%. And I think like in these kind of games, at least with our group, like there are things I like to do in this genre of game, and there are things I just don't like to do that my friends do. And so the ability to kind of like, I'll go scavenge while you build blank or whatever, you do this, I'll do the other thing. Like, I love that you can do that now in tandem, and it does almost like I said earlier, like it just makes the genre more interesting and different, way more dynamic in like what you can do, and then you feel like you have a responsibility to the community. Like, I have to go clear this plague heart, that's my job to do, while someone goes and does something else.
Yeah, exactly. And if you mess up, they like got to drop what they're doing and come
help you, or not. It depends, it depends how good your friends are, but hopefully they're coming in that car. Speaking of which, the SUV in the trailer looks awesome. Would love to talk about vehicles a little bit and how they've changed in the new title.
Well, one of the things that we looked at in our player data from State of Decay 2 is how much people drive. And our game's kind of a sneaky driving game. It's about 20 to 30% of the play time is in a car in State of Decay 2. And I think one of the unintended consequences of delivering a much bigger world in State of Decay 3 is you spend a lot more time in a car.
Sure.
And so we knew the driving experience had to be great, and we wanted not just to put like 200 different cars in the game. We wanted the vehicles to feel really distinctive and sort of utilitarian oriented. So like there's going to be a sedan that lets me go fast and has good gas mileage. There's going to be an SUV that is good off-road and has maybe good storage capacity, but not the best gas mileage. There's a cargo van that's going to allow me to just load tons of stuff in it.
Nice. Yeah.
And terrible
Yeah,
fuel
pick your
economy.
poison. Pick your poison.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, cars are sort of a hero in the world just as much as the players are. And they're sort of your mobile base. Like, this is your sanctuary when you're out in the world. Like, you know, you get rocked by some zombies, you're like hustling back to the car, trying to make a dash out of there. We also show there's a little bit of mud accumulation on it. That particular one is skinned. You want to talk about the skin on that?
At the time when we were making the trailer, we've started developing skins, you know, for the different vehicles, for the characters, for the backpacks, all the gear and stuff. So that just happened to be one of the ones that we'd done as a test.
Oh, nice.
If the hardcore, I'm sure the freeze framing and looking at, they might see something that looks like Red Talon on the side.
Okay.
It's not like Red Talon's going to be like a big part, but it's just part of that same thing again. Like,
It's a nice nod.
Part of the world.
it's just like when we talk about stuff as artists and designers and stuff, we're just sort of like, what would be left over in this world? What if? Oh, if we got that? What if you know? And you just sort of we just play in there, and that was one of those skins that we had, and it looked pretty cool.
Be interesting to see if people can, because you brought up earlier in the interview, like that people are going to watch it like 100 times, 1,000 times, you know, like on YouTube after a showcase. I'm curious between this podcast and the announce, like what people are going to catch in the trailer.
Yeah,
you know, it'll be interesting to see.
I looked at it actually this morning again and just peeked, and there's a lot of mud on there, so they might not really pick it up, but you can just see it on the hood, so I think some folks will notice. But the boombox, which is part of like the placeables and throwables, and then the weapon design, like the melee and the range, is really, really good. And the vehicles are sort of the grand finale of all that stuff. And,
Nice.
And I think we've got a really, really good team on that stuff, and the design of them, we've sort of gone deeper.
Nice. Well, if you don't look good doing something, what's even the point? I mean, that's my motto. And so with that in mind, I do want to ask, like, we talked about cars. Is there going to be awesome outfits again for your people? Can I play dolls a little bit?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. That was my morning this morning. Like, we're working on that stuff. Yeah,
that's so funny.
Good.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
We were really surprised again in our player data to see how many players went into the closet feature and customized their character appearance. Post-launch, it was like 30% of our daily active users would go into the closet and customize character appearance.
Yeah.
And so we have this great pipeline for getting clothing into the game. Stacy's doing a lot of the design of, you know, costuming, and it's very cool.
Thank you, Stacy.
Yeah, and it's wide too. Like, if you're into military type stuff, that'll exist. If you're into just sort of crazy fashion stuff, like there's just
Seattle flannels, probably.
Yeah, it's community, right? So it should be.
Allow players to express themselves.
So you know, we sort of work less in real specifics and more in just sort of broad tones and stuff.
Nice.
And what's fun about that too is it lets each artist sort of bring a bit of themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
So we get this sort of variety.
That's cool. Yeah,
So,
just a diverse amount of clothing.
And it makes it fun for us because we don't get burnt out on it. We're not doing the same stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It's just we're playing in this world all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, and the clothing system has to work with our procedurally generated characters. And so every character in the world is assembled. And so there's really no two of the same.
We design stuff that we like, and then we end up with things we didn't design that we like more.
Cool.
You know, it's
Happy accidents.
Yeah, and I think the whole thing contributes to a look that feels pretty ownable to State of Decay. And like something we talk about a lot is you should be able to see a screenshot from our game and be able to, without a logo on the corner of it, be able to know that it comes from State of Decay. So places like where all of this design touches characters or clothing or vehicles or weapons or backpacks is a way that we have a ownable and specific artistic expression that makes it like identifiable as a State of Decay thing.
Obviously, the trailer, you see a lot of different locations, contrasting locations, some really beautiful shots, some really, really dreary ones. I would love to talk a little bit about your location choices as well as the settlements we're going to be staying in.
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges of making a trailer is like you're building this out of a game in development. And
yeah, that's fascinating. I never thought about that. And like the fact that you're developing this trailer while you're developing the game, right? I never thought about those aspects, especially in an open world game.
You can't just say, oh, that bit's done, don't work on it. Like, we try to do that, but if someone, because it's all system based, if someone's working on foliage or a shader change or weather change or an infestation, all these system things, they are going to make a change in that area. So
Yeah.
So we picked the Chemical Factory because it was done, but also it was the first one that was done for a reason. Like, it's a cool place, you know, and it's big and it's got this huge tower
Yeah.
and with the plume that comes off of it, the miasma, the red cloud, you know, so it's a really dramatic setting. So we thought, you know, it served the need of the trailer visually, aesthetically. And then we had a choice to make about a settlement to include. So as the guy phones home and he needs help from his friends, they gear up at their home base. And there's a lot of bases to choose from in the game.
Yeah.
But we picked one. We picked this place called Wind City. It's up on a hill. It's got a wind turbine and it was like a former like wind power generator. And there's a settlement built around it now and they get free power out of the settlement. And
Nice.
so it just shows that the settlements have, many of them have a benefit from their prior life that now impacts the
Right.
facility choices. that
So
you
it's
have.
not just aesthetic I now have to worry about. It's like, oh, and also like this benefit. What benefit do I want right out the gates?
Yeah, yeah. So, but sometimes, you know, you pick a settlement based on where it is in the map and what you're trying
yeah.
to get done in the map. Yeah, so anyway, those we made those choices pretty early on.
Windy
shows
City
themselves.
was a good aesthetic choice too, because like the Chemical Factory is sort of like a bit deep and cavernous
And dark.
and dark, and the Windy City is up on the
Yeah,
expanse
yeah,
of the hill, and
contrast.
it's sort of a bit of opportunity to show the expanse of the world a little
Totally.
bit too. So it's just sort of, I mean, we have a lot of different settlements with a lot of different personality, but that one just sort of had the right
Yeah, the right
mix
vibe.
for the trailer. Yeah,
Yeah, the contrast between the two is smart.
It's also aspirational looking, just with the big tower and
It
the
is.
cables
It's
and-
hopeful. Yeah.
yeah, it's got
Yeah.
that hope to it. So, yeah, it was kind of a decent choice out of a bunch of good choices we could have made, but I think that one sort of just worked.
It's
for
cool.
The trailer.
It's
yeah,
a
so
cool place.
I think we showed some. I'm just thinking of other locations too, like Caroline is in there, the town, and
Yeah, I want, like, are people going to figure out who Caroline is?
oh yeah, right. Actually, it
Yeah.
can be a person. It could be a
But it's
dog. It can be
it's
a
probably
place.
someone lost in the apocalypse, or maybe it predates that. But I do love that.
Yeah,
Or it could be a community.
but it's sentimental.
Oh,
like
damn.
it's personal.
I mean, it's on a bomb.
True. Yeah, that's
Somebody
true.
picked the tape for the bomb. They're blowing something up.
Yeah, sort
Oh,
of vengeance with love.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I
we,
love
and
that.
we
Okay.
changed we changed that name pretty close to the end. Actually,
Yeah, we did. It went through a couple different iterations. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
so
right.
Caroline's a town.
Caroline's a town. Wyatt's a town. There's a shot where you're looking over sort of a town. That's Wyatt, and then I think there's the Juno gas station, which is just outside of Wyatt. So there's those locations, and
The trailer's a bit of a greatest hits. It's almost like a quick montage of a day in the life of someone in this world, and it's not ideal. You know, there's a lot they have to contend with, but it is stunning.
yeah.
I think the other thing that we had to make creative choices on was time of day and its progression through the trailer. We also transitioned from a clear evening to a rainy night. We're showing weather for the first time.
We've got weather. We got time of day. We've got.
Oh,
loads
is
of
the weather
different
going to
skies and
impact
stuff.
things like more than just like audio and sound? Like, are we going to see it affect the world around us a little bit? Like, are we easier to be seen, or I'm sorry, the opposite? Would it be harder to be seen in rain or anything?
Well,
like that?
so like everything in State of Decay, weather is built on a system,
Yeah.
which means that it can interact with any other system in the world.
Okay, cool.
So we can't really make any commitments about whether weather will impact gameplay in those ways at launch, but it's built in a way that it will. And so it doesn't make it for launch. It'll make it later as we support the game
Oh, that's exciting.
post-launch.
I mean, I love it. It's a breathing game. Unlike the zombies, which we talked about, you know, resource gathering and vehicle customization, player customization, like the sense of community and hope. But the one thing we haven't dove into yet a ton is what we're fighting against. The Plague War, I'd love to talk about that a little bit. We saw some of the enemies in the trailer, but we talk about like who we saw and maybe who we haven't seen, if you can tease that.
I mean, it's a zombie game, so there's a lot of zombies.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Like,
Could have
so
guessed.
what happens in our game, because it's so systemic, is the story is really the player's journey. And so we don't have to impose a story over it because every playthrough is different. What you experience is going to be different than I. When we play together, that's going to be different. And so one of the things you see is a difference between what we call an old zombie and a fresh one. So we're
decomposed and
years in.
Yeah.
And so some of the zombies that were
Not looking great.
infected years ago are still around. and they shamble pretty slowly, you know. They're slow and they're desiccated. And
Yeah.
slowing down. And then the fresh ones are a little bit more, have more vigor. So that's a difference. And then of course we highlight the feral and especially the bloater.
Yeah.
Sort of the bloater's trailer almost in a way.
For sure.
And, you know, there's this old expression that a creature is a feature. And so you start to think about like, what does it do? What are its behaviors?
Yeah.
And then how do those impact the other systems that are in the game? So as an example, he spews out his like bile. And if you have a Molotov, you can catch that on fire. And then you get these chain reactions of these pools of bile on the ground that are flammable.
Yeah.
But you know,
It's a wonderful
then all of that has to get, I think, put into a package by the art team that conveys the sort of like what the functionality of this creature. And
Yeah, are you
the
thinking
horror.
about its behavior, Wayne, and stuff when you're
Yeah, it's behavior, it's balance. When you're in the infestation, it can be pretty intense, like just atmospherically and the colors and stuff. So getting the bloater to stand out, just color-wise, animation team has done a great job of like differentiating the poses. So if you're seeing it from a distance with a silhouette,
Yeah.
you can see it's sort of its intention from afar and
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. So just like all those things, yeah. And one of the really great things that's been happening, I think, is that our design team and our animation team are really tight on this stuff. So the things the designers want and how their sort of behaviors are coming together, it's been really good. And then the VFX team has just been wrapping a bow around that stuff. And
Very cool.
the bloater, I think, is the first one where we're like, oh, there's the package.
Yeah.
A little bit. And we were seeing sort of the bloater do its behavior as we intended. And this is the sort of exciting part about a game like this is you build all these systems and then they start to speak to each other. And, you know, you get those moments where it's the bloater is, you know, spewing out its sort of gas and it's volatile. And then someone's, you know, like Philip said, has got a Molotov and it ignites. And then that ignites a zombie that's next to it. And
Yeah.
you just get this chain of events that,
Beautiful chaos.
beautiful chaos, yeah, and you know, things like that start happening. So it's just
It leads to a
so
really
cool.
unscripted experience, right?
Right.
It's very
And-
dynamic.
That's in moment to moment, like that the dynamic of that is like the best part of these games. It's just like you make a memory, right? A clip, a memory, like a moment with your friends that is, yeah. You accidentally set your buddy on fire because he happened to be covered in bile.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say
And I think
that's gonna happen day
like
one.
the Juggernaut and the Feral and the Bloater, the Screamer, they all play off of each other really well. So
Cool.
I mean, when they start coming together, it's just
Well, and then we haven't talked about the plague nest itself.
Yeah.
And so in State of Decay 2, you know, the plague heart was sort of the biggest, baddest thing that you would encounter. And it's this giant meat pinata, I guess. You
Pretty
just bang
much,
on it
yeah.
until you get some spoils. But those are just like now nodes on this network that lead you to this massive infestation.
Oh,
Yeah, so the size of these infestations is like 4, 5, 6 times bigger than you can imagine from a plague heart. And yeah, and,
that's awesome.
and there's, you know, there's blister nodes that will pop and blow up and spew gas, and there's spitters, and there's all these different elements to this gunk, this
Yeah.
biologic mass
Yeah.
that's trying to kill you. And it's sending its forces towards your door. So you can't just ignore it.
Yeah.
The
It's a
world-
war. I mean,
the world will burn if you do not prevent it.
so you really got to work at like fighting back this network.
Yeah, and what I think the really cool balance is, like, am I strong enough to go take on one of these plague nests? And if so, maybe I need to get a little bit stronger and get some better weapons and more firepower. But if I wait too long, this thing's getting stronger as I'm getting stronger.
Right. Right.
So like, when do I I
Yeah.
have to go take it on when I'm maybe not quite ready?
yeah.
So
You
that-
send your buddy to do it.
yeah,
Like,
well,
you know,
let's,
you got it. You
well,
got it.
so it's a little bit like a raid. Like, let's
Yeah.
gear up tonight and we're gonna go take out a nest.
I love it. I mean, I mean that's like the fun part is like we're building towards something, and what is that? It's to take on like the biggest threats in the game, and you're gonna need grenades or Molotovs. You're gonna need ammo, a ton of meds, a getaway car. You know, a friend that's not gonna bail on you in the worst time. You know, and
maybe you got
I
to
have
pull
some of
out. Maybe
those.
you can't take it down in one
Right.
go, and you got to
gotta
go
know when to bail.
regroup.
Yeah, yeah.
Change out
that's-
some characters and do some healing and get some fresh ammo. And
That's such the dance of State of Decay. Is like, oh, my guy's tired, but maybe one more building.
yeah.
One more building. You know?
And even if with your best laid plan and if you sort of have a good idea of the layout of this thing, you still don't know what might happen who's going to come through the door or who's going to come around the corner and how they're going to mix with the other freaks.
Oh no, a feral.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's, I think, is going to have a pretty different experience when they're playing these things. So.
Oh my God. I'm so excited, you guys. Genuinely appreciate the conversation today. Like, as a fan, so looking forward to this game. So grateful to just get to talk to y'all today about it. State of Decay 3 coming in 2027. It's going to be available on Xbox Series X, S, and PC. It's Game Pass day one and Xbox Play Anywhere, which is like my favorite feature. But I gotta ask you guys, what are you most excited for fans to jump in and experience in State of Decay 3?
I think my first thought is the things we haven't
Anticipated.
yeah.
Yeah.
This just flashed into my brain actually, which was ages ago, but this was when you're working on an open world game for a long time, it's just taken from you and doesn't give you anything back because they're hard to build. Like you're waiting for these systems to come together, and there was a
You need all of them, really.
Yeah, so it's just not working for a long time. And there was a moment I remember when someone blew apart a zombie or something, and this might have been a bug, but its forearm stuck in the chain link fence. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Waving goodbye, you know?
It was just like this weird little moment that wasn't like, no one said,
Let's make that happen.
let's make that happen.
it
That's
just
not
does.
a plan or anything. And there's probably a bug, but I was like, oh, that is so cool. And lighting lead, Adam, he's often will send out these videos and they just have these amazing atmosphere. Like he'll have a fight. I remember that one he sent where,
Juggernaut in the swamp.
yeah, it was in the swamp. It was misty.
night.
It was raining. He had Molotovs. There was a jug in there. There's water. Like it's having this whole experience and stuff. So I think
All the mechanics coming together, like you said.
yeah. So I think we try and sort of set the table and design stuff and create the circumstances, but then something's going to happen, and
Yeah.
I think folks are going to have their own adventures. So it's the unknown as well.
Oh, yeah.
Makes it
Oh, we'll put it through its paces. I can promise you
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I think it's a great answer, and I would so just to offer maybe a different perspective. We were talking earlier about the shot of the train engine sort of derailed, and just this beautiful little moment. And one of my favorite State of Decay experiences actually was several years ago. Was with Joe, and I was really trying to learn the game, and I would play with him a lot. And he's like got, I don't know, 5,000 hours in the game or something.
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Some light.
so we would play together, and he's like, follow me. And we climbed up on this roof, and just as the sun rose, and he's like, this is my favorite spot. And
Ah,
yeah,
I love
this-
that.
Yeah, so there's these pockets all over the world that we still keep finding.
Yeah.
And because the world's so much bigger than it was before, and where you can sort of like, there's set dressing, and there's this time of day, and there's the story that plays out between you and your community of survivors, the story between you and your friend playing together, that has this whole other kind of emotional meaning that sits on top of the game.
100%. Yeah. Got to find the beautiful moments. And like, I love the game with Joe. That's exactly my space. Like, I love exploring the world like that.
One of the hard things about the trailer, actually, because it was hard not to be like, can we show this? Can we do this?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and just
No matter how many set pieces you set up or things that you're like, this is the shot. Like, I will say, like, especially in open world games, sometimes you just make a left turn on a road and you're rolling into a town. And it's like, oh shit, this looks great. You know, or like, wow, I am immersed.
yeah.
And so it's always just like, for me, it's always the places you don't expect, right? You just make a turn and all of a sudden, wow, this is cool.
Yeah,
You know,
and
this
that's
is
the
nice
fun
to-
stuff. Like and again, it's sort of, I think, what makes it fun to develop. You don't run out of steam because you keep finding stuff.
Yeah,
like there's
Keep us
come to
engaged.
work and there's a discovery to it. Which is sort of how the team rolls a little bit, which
Yeah,
keeps the love in there.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, any final parting words for the community before I let you guys get back to work?
I've said this before, I'll say it again. Like, we just would not be here without our community. And, community as survival is a way that we think about our game, but it's also a way that we think about the studio and our relationship to our audience. And, State of Decay 1 was a pretty humble game. It was Xbox Live Arcade, and, there was not a lot of, I think, understanding of what it could become. And here we are all these years later, and built on the back of fan support. And so we just always have tried to hold on to that notion that we're here because we have an audience of people that love our game.
Yeah. Anything to add?
No, I mean, I think just with that as well is just we're listening to the audience too, and we're going to be working on this for a while. It's going to be a live game, and just like State of Decay 2 did, if you look at it from the start to where it ended, went through a lot of changes. So who knows?
Yeah, totally.
Where it's going to be. I mean, it's just like we've sort of, with where we're at now, like I'm changing the narrative a little bit as I'm talking to the team as like, oh, like we've got to hit this date and time. It's like, that's not really the end, it's the start.
Totally.
You know, the development of the game, and a big part of that is the community.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
being engaged and seeing what they're liking and then investing in that too, and the same way we do.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you got me and so many community members joining the ride day one, I'm sure. Wayne, Philip, thank you guys so much for the time today.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah, our pleasure. Thank you.
And that wraps up this episode of the Official Xbox Podcast. A massive thank you to the folks at Undead Labs for having us, and for Philip and Wayne
Next
for
in
joining us.
19,
State of
the
Decay
best
3 will
and
be
easiest
available
way
in
to start State of
2027
Decay
on
2
Xbox
Lethal
Series
Zone.
X and S, as well as
Brian
PC.
Menard,
It'll be
28
available
minutes,
day one
36
on Game Pass
seconds.
Ultimate and supports Xbox Play Anywhere. I cannot wait to play. And that's it for today's Xbox Podcast. We'll see you in the next one.
Close button. Pause.
All right, guys, what's going on?
Games in this podcast.
Pause. Play button.
Wow.
Intro.
Galera, esse foi o primeiro dos dois eventos, focado no State of Decay,
Play button.
tá? Correto. Foi o primeiro. Então, lembrando, daqui a pouquinho trago
Introduction.
para vocês o próximo evento. Lembre de deixar o seu like, comentário, compartilhar o vídeo, ajudar bastante o canal. E nos vemos daqui a pouquinho no próximo vídeo. Muito obrigado por nos acompanhar. Valeu, falou. E eu fui. Tchau, tchau.
Iniciar janela. Pesquisar janela. Microsoft. Microsoft Edge. Número. OBS Studio. OBS. Interromper